All right, guys, a very exciting video today. But first off, if you're watching this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That way you can see more of my videos, more of my builds that I'm gonna be doing in the future. So without further ado, what we are gonna be doing today is we are going to be installing the stereo. This is probably gonna be one of the funnest moments because it's probably one of the most expensive parts we're putting on this bike. So what stereo we went with? We went with the Sony XAV-AX700 double din stereo. So this stereo has touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, so it plugs right into your phone. So you'll get your GPS on there, you'll get your text messages, you'll kind of get everything you need on there. It's probably one of the most advanced stereos, for lack of a better term, that you can put into these bikes. I know a lot of people out there actually take out their stock Harley radios and they're putting in this Sony XAV-7000 just because it has so much more functionality. There's a pretty decent amp in there as well. So super excited to put it back in, or put it in for the first time rather. I haven't even unwrapped it yet. This is it right here. Hasn't even been unwrapped and it is going right in there. So I've seen some people try to put it in through the front, but I do think it goes in through the back, right in through here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get that done right now as you guys watch. So stay along for the video. Hopefully this all goes smoothly and we can get this thing in here. All right, guys, first look at it. It is essentially plug and play right here in the back, specifically made for Harleys. 2 USB cable ports for it. One, I believe, is to update the system. Another one is to connect your Apple CarPlay to it. It's got another one for rear speakers. So a bunch of different things for it. Here's the front. I'm not going to take this off quite yet until I finish installing it. So essentially what we're going to be doing, we're going to be putting it in through the back. Hopefully it all goes smoothly. And then we can kind of connect everything as well. So guys, one thing that I have heard is that it is a super tight fit in here. So what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to lift up on this right here and try to squeeze it in, because I have heard it's a very, very, very tight fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Hope I don't break anything, but we're gonna give it a go. All right, so pro tip for anyone that is trying to install a double din or an XAV-7000 into a Metra fairing, or perhaps even to a stock fairing for a Harley. I've heard they're very, very tight in there. The trick I found was, instead of putting the bottom in all the way first and then trying to scoot the top in, so instead of putting the bottom in all the way first and then trying to scoot the top in, what I did was I went ahead and tried to get it as level as possible in there. And I barely had to pick up the front of the inner fairing, this little lip right here, to get it to fit in. It actually fits almost perfectly. It's just the way you put it in makes a big difference. So don't try to put the bottom in first or the top in first. Try to put it in as straight as possible. Maybe touch the bottom a little bit on the lip, and then just lift up here on the top and it'll slide right in real easy. So yeah, I wish there was a video out there that would have told me that, because everyone said, oh, it's a struggle and you got to really pry on it. It's actually not a struggle. It's just how you put it in there. So go ahead, you know, put the little lip on the bottom on there, barely put it in, and then try to put the top through and get in as straight as possible. It'll slide right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this situated here. Push it in, and it is in now. Wow, what a difference that made right there. I cannot wait to power this thing on and to see what it looks like. So essentially, we got it slid into there. One problem I do foresee is that with this aftermarket fairing support, the screws just aren't quite lining up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and drill out the holes appropriately in there, which really isn't gonna be a big deal. So on this side, and then on this side, because it just doesn't quite line up how it should. Actually, let me try something. I'm gonna try to adjust these screws right in here and slide it around, and see if I can get those lined up a little bit better. Bear with me here. We'll see if that works a little bit better. All right, guys, it still doesn't want to line up in there. As you can see, the holes are just off in that. So what I'm going to do is drill into the plastic a little bit. That's what I'm going to have to do to get it secured in there. Really not that big of a deal. It's just plastic. It's just a plastic piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, so first side is in there and it is tight. That thing is not moving around. So once I get the second one in, it should be really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the second side now. And then that looks like we are towards the end of getting that installed. And then we got the fun part of doing the wiring. It is in. Super, super tight. It's not going anywhere in there. That bolt is in there. That bolt is in there. Technically, it's supposed to have two that goes through it. But honestly, when you're working with aftermarket parts, yeah, are they a bunch cheaper? Sure, tremendously cheaper. But you're gonna have to bring some ingenuity to them because they're not gonna fit right. So I say, if you're buying aftermarket parts, accept the fact that you are gonna have to make modifications. Stuff is not gonna fit perfectly, and don't get frustrated with it. Just work with it. You know, you gotta kind of work with what you got. So, you know, I fully expected that coming into this. I didn't realize it'd be drilling holes into the plastic, but what difference does it make if it's a hole that you drilled or a hole that a machine drilled when it was, you know, being made? So it's in there, it's tight. I'm not worried about it at all. That may come back to bite me in the butt. No, just kidding. But it is in there, it's tight, so I'm not worried about it. From the front, it is in there, it is secure, and it is looking fantastic. So now it's time for the fun part, to do the wiring. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get all of this connected. It should be fairly simple because it is plug and play. So here we go. So main wiring harness obviously just connects right here. We're gonna have to do some serious wire management with this because she does not look too happy. So what I think I'm gonna do is go ahead and zip tie this up here. Eventually. But for right now, we'll get this main wire harness, snaps together, gets in there, give it a tug, not going anywhere. So, I think we are there as far as the connections go. Now it comes time to the wire management with all this stuff in here. Zip tying, getting it to where it should be, making sure all the connections are good, and making sure all the connections in the gauges are good. And then we can potentially put on the front fairing while we wait for the rest of the parts to get powder coated. So we are making some serious progress. It's starting to look like a bike again. Now comes the fun part of getting all of these wires back to where they go, hooking up the speakers and praying that everything works. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. However, I hate electrical stuff. And if there is an issue with it, it's gonna take me a little while to figure it out. So I'm really hoping that it goes well. It is all plug and play, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work, but I always prepare for something to happen. You know, when you work on projects like this, you gotta always prepare for something to go wrong. So if it goes right, hey, so much the better. If it goes wrong, hey, we expected it, and we can work our way through it. So stay with me. We're about to get all these wires connected, and then maybe get this thing turned on for the first time.